say the day after or the following week is going to be interpreted different if you didn't hear the story. Everything from Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to Charles Barkley, everybody's been getting information late. When you really watch the show, Nick Cannon didn't do nothing wrong, but Nick Cannon at the same time went down the lane he wasn't supposed to go down. It also exposed that even though he is a brilliant young man, I always took him as a boss until they exposed him. And here's what I mean: whenever you go work for a company of that magnitude and you've been there that long, you have to make strategic moves. You got to put people on. Everything I do in life, I put people on. I always put people there. So 10, 15 years, if I need you, I could come to you. I'm not going to do it because I want something. I'm just doing it because it's the right thing to do. And Nick Cannon didn't put nobody in place to help him out in the long run. Then you get exposed that you don't even own Wild 'N Out. I think finding out that about he didn't own Wild 'N Out hurt me more than the backlash of the Jews. Because I'm like, yo, you don't own? They was able to just take that away from you.
Yeah.
That hurt my feelings, right? That truly hurt my feelings. But one thing I could say about planning and being smart, and even though I'm not a fan of Donald Trump, let me give y'all some game. When you get in a powerful position, you're supposed to put people on, just like I said, so one day, just in case they help you. Look what Donald Trump did when he got in office. He put people in powerful positions that if he ran into any type of resistance, they was there to bail him out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you call strategic planning. I call that telesis. That means progress intelligently planned. And we could say whatever we want to say about Donald Trump. And I don't like him. But that's the way you move. And that's the way when people get in positions like Nick Cannon, you got to put people on. You got to put so many people on that they wind up in powerful places that they are there to help you. But what we do as Black men and women, we get in powerful positions, and since we're the only Black, we want to stay the only Black there. We don't want to put another person on because you think they're going to get bigger than you, or somebody's going to like them more than they like you. And this is just my opinion. And it could fall on deaf ears, and I hope that it's transpires to young men and women who are coming up in the game to understand this is what you do. You got to put people on to help them out and to help you somewhere down the line. That's just me.
With the Nick Cannon situation, because like I said, yesterday Shade Room came out and they announced that Nick Cannon will be suing Viacom for $1.5 billion, and that is for the estimated value of his show, or their show, I should say, Wild 'N Out. And Wild 'N Out was one of probably the top shows, on cable for so long. And Nick Cannon was fired about a month ago for some what they're calling anti-Semitic remarks that he made after he apologized. But his rep came out, or somebody claiming to be his rep, and told the New York Daily News that there's no merit to the story that a lawsuit has been filed against Viacom. They're saying that the rep, who identified herself as Nikki LeBreton, told the outlet in part, these reports are inaccurate. Nick's focus right now is unifying communities and combating bigotry, racism, and hates of all kinds. He is not seeking any personal financial gain. Now, when this news popped yesterday or the day before, whenever it popped, man, we was all like, oh, shit, Nick ain't fucking around. But now we see Nick, it ain't no truth to this, Sam. Man, what's your thoughts on this?
All right, my initial thoughts was Nick is pissing me the fuck off. And that's no disrespect. I got love for the brother, but it's like you flip-flopping ass nigga. Like, just sit down and do what you got to do and self-medicate and just get away from the cameras for a second.
Yeah.
But then I asked myself, all right, well, who put out the report that Nick Cannon was suing Viacom for $1.5 billion?
Your boy, your people with the Shade Room.
Okay, they did. Shout out to Angelica, my bad. But why didn't Nick refute it yesterday? Why didn't he come out and go, hey, y'all, blah, 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 this is false, blah, 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 blah? Why let it steam up only for some representatives, not Nick again, for representatives to come out and say, no, this isn't true. He's focused on blase, blah, X, blah, Z, blase, blah.
I know, right?
I'm just over this shit, man. I'm over the song and dance that we see from a lot of these fucking celebrities and a lot of these talents, because we talk about a lot of the people. We joke around a lot because you see people that we know growing up and things like that. And you gonna make it, nigga, you ain't living like that for real. Stop fronting on social media. Well, those ain't the only people fronting on social media. These motherfucking people in Hollywood who we look at in movies, in comedy stands, and all this shit, they fugazing too. And unfortunately, we may be looking at a little bit of that with Nick, man.
So yeah, I mean, with Nick, man, it's a real crazy situation because he came out, he was strong in his stance, he apologized, and it was like a whirlwind of this and that. But when I heard the news, I thought it was 100% accurate that he was going to sue him. I thought he was well within his right. Do I think he was going to win? No. I think he was going to spend a few $1 million, some high-powered lawyers, and still win because it's going to come down to the contractual obligations. And Nick, from what we know, failed to lock down the ownership of the show. I think, and the reason I think is because, again, like I was saying before, he came up in that whole arena where he was just kind of like getting gigs, getting jobs, and, you know, whoever came up with the idea, you know, he just didn't lock down the ownership part of it. And it's really a travesty when you see guys like him, Van Lathan, being fired when they were such big parts of what they created, but they don't have the ownership. And we've seen people that come and that practice, not practice, but, you know, talked about ownership, one being Dame Dash. You know what I mean? He nailed this shit. And he even had a conversation with Van Lathan about it. And even though I don't agree with a lot of stuff that Dame Dash says, I agree with that part. It's the ownership aspect. And a lot of these guys just don't have it, no matter how good they look, no matter how much money, no matter how big their chain is, they just don't have the ownership aspect. And when they say something that offends the real owners, they could be out. Yeah, that needs to change, man. And you gotta, I know it sounds like cliche when we say, oh, you gotta get your own, but you got to get your own shit so nobody can fire you.
That you gotta get your own shit just became popular in 2020 though. Riding into from the sunset of 2019 going to 2020, you gotta get your own shit was popular because Nick Cannon grew up very, I'm not gonna say very privileged, but he came up in Hollywood, very young child star. You know what I mean? Was bred into this, always having a situation where he can dictate it, but never had to own it because he was comfortable enough to have to worry about the shit. You know what I'm saying? He never had to go to a situation where his back was against the wall and go, you know what? I gotta go own something until now. You know what I'm saying? So we starting to see motherfuckers and where their minds have been in condition throughout the years, and they're finally having their quote unquote awakenings too. That's why we see Nick so heavy with the dashikis. They just started this shit a couple years ago. In his awakening and the ownership shit. So by then, Wildin' Out was in probably 10, 12th year, comfortable, good, thinking he was untouchable, say the wrong thing. And now we see the reality of the situation is he's not the only one. And we're not trying to diss or dog Nick Cannon. We're rooting for Nick Cannon. That's why it was frustrating when he came out and said it and then apologized. And then everything that happened after, because Nick was on to something there and he had the support of the people, man. And I think he did himself a disservice by one, if he wasn't genuine about what he said, going out and saying it, and then backtracking, man.
You think he would have won his lawsuit?
No.
Why do you say that?
If I say the reason why, they may call me anti-Semitic, but I just know that certain friends mingle among these high businesses and they may have a conversation at a bar and, you know, the lawyers may have a conversation at a bar and there just be ended up a lot of money spent. And nothing really happening. You know what I'm saying? You going up, just imagine that's like somebody in YouTube trying to go up against Google and sue them for 1.5 anything. It's the exact fucking same thing. It ain't happening, dog.
They're gonna drown you out with court costs. And Nick Cannon, I'm sorry to say, I know his money's long, but it's not as long as a Viacom. And you know, it's just gonna cost too much money to try to. You probably don't. I mean, I ain't gonna say you're gonna spend the 1.5 billion, but you're gonna spend a lot of millions trying to beat a company like that, especially if you don't have any rights, you know, to that particular show. Now, the latter part of it, she said, Nick now his focus is unifying communities, combating bigotry, racism, and all kinds of hate. He's not seeking any personal financial gain. What do you feel about that last part of his focus now, or his focus then and now?
Just go ahead, brother. And there's other ways to lead by other than making statements. Just do it. You know what I'm saying? I see what you got on Canon Class now. You've been having a lot of rabbis and shit on there, and great for you, man.
How you feel about that? A little educational moment.
Hollywood, man. That's the fuck I think about it. It's Hollywood,
donate
bro.
to?
Huh?
To the rabbis?
I'm sure they did. Now, I mean, now his great grandfather is half rabbi Spanish, and probably. I'm not denying it. I don't know, shit, but it's just all interesting while all this shit's coming out now. You know what I mean? Public Enemy, pro-black, just stop rock, rock, and now you got your that good old whipping that they said we not our ancestors. You damn right we ain't. Man, we take one backlash and we run it back quick. Woo! We ain't our fucking ancestors. No.
And I just wish that we could really have a conversation between, Jewish people and people who call themselves Jews and African, Black, whatever, and sit down and sort this stuff out and say, okay, let's look at the history. Let's go back and see, all right, what happened to why, he said this, what happened to why Jewish people say this about themselves, and we can really have that. Somebody needs to do that, like we have in these verses, but let's have a thing where you can bring a rabbi and maybe somebody from another whatever, and they could talk about it and go through the facts, say, okay, this is why this happened. And maybe come to some type of consensus, but I don't know.
That's a great idea. And you know what? I have no idea what the fuck really happened. I don't know who the true children of Israel are genuinely when I think about it. Right. But what I do know is anytime you bring the conversation up to somebody Jewish or somebody Jewish,
be careful now.
They don't like it.
Yeah, they don't like it.
They don't like it.
It's almost like a blasphemy. Like, how dare you even, think that way? But you can't get mad at Black people in particular from the United States feeling this way when everything we had has been kind of stolen from us, hidden from us. We've been told a lot of lies. So if we think we're coming up on some information, and if or if we're skeptical of it, how could you be mad at that? It's like we could never be mad, at a Jewish person for being skeptical of certain things
at all.
They've been through certain things to say, all right, look, like, yo, I don't think that's true.
Mm-hmm.
But for somebody to come down on you and be mad at you, man, kind of it shows me something too.
They took his job away and took his money away for his opinion. That's all it is at the end of the day. Your opinion was different than mine. My money's longer than yours. Therefore, me and you aren't validated in our opinions. I'm taking your shit.
Shame.
It's crazy.
But one thing we'll do here on this podcast is to continue